Welcome to Break Free to Brilliance podcast, empowering women in business through thought-provoking interviews and insights. Embrace your authentic power, explore the impact of your story, and discover how writing your best-selling book can amplify your message, authority, and the 3 I's: impact, influence, and income. Let each episode guide you towards brilliance in minutes. This is your host, Seema Giri.
Have you felt that quiet kind of exhaustion that comes when you've been strong for too long? You're doing all the right things, you're showing up as people expect you to, while something inside you whispers that this doesn't feel like me anymore. You can't quite explain it. Nothing is really wrong, but you feel like there's something's missing. And the harder you try to stay positive, the louder that whisper gets. I know that feeling too well. It's the moment your life looks perfectly fine from the outside, but from inside, you feel like your soul is sighing, like there's something more. Welcome to Break Free to Brilliance podcast. This is your friend Seema. And if you're new here, I am so thrilled that you have joined us today. This is where women are integrating visibility, vitality, and inner leadership so they can be seen, be real, and be brilliant. And if you've been here for a while, welcome home. I love spending this time with you every single week. This is my favorite time. You already know that this isn't about adding another thing to your plate. It's about coming back to your truth, one conversation at a time. Today's episode is called Rooted in Truth, Living from Inner Authority. We're not just talking about confidence. We're talking about what it feels like to finally trust your voice. Even when the world around you hasn't caught up yet. For a long time, I didn't even realize how far I had drifted from my own truth. People used to tell me, Seema, you speak too softly. Seema, when you speak, you really sound unsure. Seema, maybe you shouldn't go this way because you're really not a people person. And I believed them. So I stayed in the background. I became the dependable one. I became the quiet achiever. I was the woman who made everything work behind the scenes, but rarely got seen herself. And that worked until it didn't. Because no matter how together everything looked, there was a part of me that felt like I had disappeared from my own life. And that's why, to this day, I still can't believe that I have started my own business because it wasn't the logical thing to do. But I realize now it was the only logical thing to do. But I didn't know that yet. I just knew I couldn't keep betraying myself to keep things smooth. There was always a voice that kept saying, Seema, you're meant for more. This isn't it. This isn't all. There's something more. And I recently relearned that lesson. I was on a call with 2 team members about a new project that I'm leading. With one of the team members who's worked with me for several years, knows me for more than 20 years. So he's really seen me transform and evolve. And with him, I had already briefed him. We had talked about the vision, the mission, the outcomes, very specific, and how the team was going to feel the success of it. And we had come to an agreement. We were briefing the 3rd team member. And as we were having the discussion, I could see the scope becoming bigger again. The scope was becoming something different. It was becoming broader. So I brought the team back to the focus. I knew exactly what I needed. I knew exactly what was expected. And I was very clear. I was calm, collect, professional, and very clear. And we got into the agreement again. And when the meeting was over, the second team member came back to me and said, Seema, in that meeting, I really felt you were a little bit too strong. I sat back and I listened, and I found it very interesting. And I was observing my own reaction, which frankly really surprised me. Any other time, that conversation, that feedback would have broken me inside. I would have revisited that conversation, that meeting again and again. I would replay it in my mind and see, where did I go wrong? What could I have said? I may have apologized. I may have over apologized. I may have gone into a whole explanation. And I just felt grounded. I appreciated that the team member felt comfortable enough to come and say that to me. And I responded, well, thank you for sharing that with me. I appreciate it. My intention was not to make anyone feel uncomfortable or come across too strong, but it was very important within the time limit that we had to bring back the focus to what we had originally agreed on, bring the third team member on board, get his agreement, and get him to have that shared understanding about the project, because we have a finite amount of time and we want this to be really successful. I was very clear and I knew the specific outcomes that I wanted. I didn't apologize. I didn't over explain, but I was able to express where I was coming from. And that's the difference. When you live from your inner authority, you no longer need approval or validation from anyone else to know that you're aligned. It just feels very different. And this feeling is going to feel a little strange, maybe a little uncomfortable, because it's not familiar. But it feels good. I have to tell you, it feels really, really good. So let's walk through what this actually looks like in real life, because inner authority and being rooted sounds really beautiful until you're standing in a real world moment that tests it. So let's take a scenario that you're in a meeting. You're sharing your idea and you're excited about it. Halfway through, someone cuts you off and they pivot the conversation and they go off in a different direction and your heart sinks. The old you would have told yourself, it's fine. I don't want to sound difficult. You smile and you let the other person continue. But when you're rooted, either you can wait until they finish or you say, excuse me, I was not done sharing my thought. Please let me complete my sentence, or don't even say please. The rooted you would say, excuse me, I was not complete with my thought. Let me finish my idea, and then you can continue. Your voice doesn't shake, you're clear, and you don't apologize for taking up space. You just claim it, because your truth deserves the same airtime just as anyone else's. Let's take a client or a colleague situation. You're in a collaboration and maybe you guys are running behind. Your timeline keeps moving, the energy feels off, and everyone wants a quick fix. Before, you would stretch yourself really thin. Even though you would know that you don't have the bandwidth, you would work extra time and extra hours, because that's what team players do, right? The rooted you will pause before responding. You check in with yourself to see what really feels right. And then you say, I want this project to be successful, but this timeline doesn't work. Here's what will. You are the subject matter expert. You would know what is really going to work and what won't. And that shows leadership. That is setting boundaries without blame. And for those of you who are speakers out there, maybe you're speaking, you have a solo opportunity, or maybe you're on a panel, or maybe you've just posted something personal online. The old you would have polished it as perfect as you can get. Maybe rewrite the post and maybe take out some personal things or some vulnerable moments, or just so you can sound more professional. Because heaven forbid anyone thinks that you don't have it all together. After being rooted, you just tell the truth from the heart. You share your real turning points, the uncertainty, the lessons, the growth, and you're just being real, you in that moment. And people lean in, not because you're perfect, but because you are being you, real in that moment. Suppose you send an email. Here's another situation. You send an email and it gets misunderstood. And the person replies back to you with a lot of tension, with a lot of anger, right? They really let you know how they feel. And you can feel that flutter in your stomach and feel that uneasiness. Your heart might be starting to race as well. Before you're rooted, you might panic and you might edit your responses and maybe over explain, maybe apologize, because and you try to smooth everything out because you want everyone to be comfortable. After being rooted, you breathe and you reply once clearly and respectfully without twisting yourself up in a pretzel and without trying to make everyone happy. Because you've learned that other people's reaction don't define your integrity. And you don't know what situation the other person has been in. Maybe they got into a fight with a colleague or someone they love, or they just got bad news and they reacted. It might not have even had anything to do with you. Another situation is when you're just trying to decide what's next. You feel the nudge to start something new, end something old, and take the next leap. But you don't have a clear path yet. Before, you might rush, you'd overthink, maybe crowdsource opinions, get validation from others, and fill every quiet moment with action because waiting feels really risky. But after you're rooted, you'll listen instead of hustling. You let your clarity arrive before you move. And you trust that alignment isn't laziness, it's precision. You move when your truth says now. And that's the difference. Before your life ran on reaction, now it runs on resonance. So let's ground this together. You can use this as a journal prompt or use it as a reflection, whatever you like. Here it is. What part of my life have I been managing rather than trusting it? Take a moment or sometime later, take it some time to really write this down. You might be surprised at your answer, or sit and reflect in meditation on this and let the words come. Let it come to you. So for me, I usually ruminate on this question for some time. And then over the next couple of hours or next couple of days, I get the answers. It doesn't always happen right away. Sometimes it takes a couple of days. So just marinate in this question and see what comes up for you. Okay, now let's embody this. Let's just take a moment to close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Get comfortable in your seat and place your hand over your heart. And take another deep breath and quietly say, I am safe to be seen in my truth. I am safe to be seen in my truth. And feel the strength of those words. And notice what you notice in your body. How does it make you feel? Do you tense up or do you feel relaxed? Does it feel good or is your heart racing? And wherever you're feeling, it's okay. Now, I want you to bring into awareness any place that feels a little uncomfortable, a little discomfort, a little tense. Maybe you feel a little warmth over there. If that warmth doesn't feel good, I want you to bring into awareness that area and just breathe into it. Send your breath over there. And send as many breaths as you need to that spot. And you notice with every breath, it's dissipating. It feels less and less. And before you know it, it will be gone. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Now, this might feel a little strange in the beginning, only because it's not familiar to you. It's something new. And it's exciting. So embrace this. Embody it. Whatever you do, don't go back to your old ways to make others feel comfortable. They're seeing you in a new light. They're seeing you grow. They're seeing the impact. It's new for them as well. It's different for them as well. They need time to adjust to you, just like you need time to adjust to yourself as well. Have compassion, have kindness, but have that for yourself too. So this week, I want you to really pay attention to how you're reacting and how you're going about your day. Catch one small moment where you normally over-explain or maybe over-apologize. And instead, just say what's true. Share what you're feeling. Make it simple, be clear, and be rooted. That's how alignment starts, one moment at a time. It is a practice. You've spent years doing things the other way. So naturally, this is going to take practice. And if you stumble, it's okay. You can get up again and do it again. Have compassion for yourself. This is something new, and you're building your muscle in this area. If this episode spoke to you or really resonated with you, share it with another woman who's remembering her own truth, someone who is truly ready to trade performance for peace. Because in this community, when we rise, we all rise, and we support one another. And if you are ready to bring your story forward, to turn your truth into something that impacts others, join us in our upcoming anthology or write your own book. It's where authentic voices rise together and leadership begins from inside out. I would love to support you in your journey of writing and sharing your story. If you haven't already, please subscribe, leave a review, and share your reflection on today's podcast. Not just for me, because your story might be the mirror another woman needs. And I want you to remember this. You don't need to prove your light. You just need to uncover it. This is Breakthrough to Brilliance. And together, we're being brilliant. Until next time, this is Seema. And I want to take a moment to mention that the content shared in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. My guests and I share personal experiences and real life examples that have helped us live our best lives, much like friends sharing stories. While we strive to provide valuable information, it's important to consult with professionals for advice
tailored to your individual circumstances. Thank you for being part of our community, and thank you for spending this time with me. Remember, your story is your strength. Until next time, stay inspired and keep making a difference. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Break Free to Brilliance podcast, and I hope you had some key takeaways that you can implement right away. Be sure to subscribe to Break Free to Brilliance wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also follow along with us on social media using the links in the show notes below. We'll see you again for the next episode.